I'm Dr. Danite, and this is the Bliss Lab, where we approach life as a delicious experiment. From Tantra to embodiment, from polarity to pleasure, we're here to study bliss, one juicy conversation at a time. I am so glad you chose to join me back in the Bliss Lab today, where I am joined by Zoe Dane for a juicy conversation I'm calling Work Like a Woman. And Zoe's an incredible woman. She is a certified hypnotherapist, a Tantra yoga teacher, feminine embodiment guide, specializing in the realms of sensuality and devotion. She's passionate about helping women come home to their innate power so that they can serve the world from it. Zoe has spoken on stages, at expos and festivals to hundreds of people, captivating audiences with her passionate transmissions on the importance of living your dharma, the power of devotional union, and the importance of deep feminine revival to heal the planet. Zoe is the host of the Better It Gets podcast and co-host of Dripping in Divinity podcast and founder of the Vessel membership. And we unlock some codes in this episode. First, we get clear on why working like a man leads to burnout, illness, and breakdown in women, and how working like a woman is truly honoring the natural cycles and rhythms and wirings of being a feminine embodied person. Actually, we can create greater outcomes with far less effort. Spoiler alert, less is more. And so the conversation's really an invitation to remember that your body and your energy were designed to flow and be in rhythm and creation in a distinctly feminine way. And when you lean into that truth, everything changes. So let's drop into the conversation. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Bliss Lab. I am so excited for this juicy conversation we have for you today. The topic is one that we hope reaches so many women in the world, in our current culture. And I know in my circle of women, it's a very hot topic, and it's working like a woman, working like women. And so I have the incredible, the beautiful, the sexy Zoe Dane here with me to get curious in the Bliss Lab about what does it mean to work like a woman, and why is that important, and why is that even a topic of conversation? So Zoe Dane, welcome, my sweet, sweet love.
Thank you. Feels so good to be here.
It's a good one, Zoe Dane. I just like saying your whole name, Zoe Dane. Is that your God-given, birth-given name?
It's my God-given name, and my fiance and I often joke. It's like I was born with a brand name, and he'll be like, "I'm so jealous. Like you can just use your name for everything."
But for real. No, I just like saying it. I like it in my mouth, Zoe Dane. I like it. And I feel like if that was my name, I'd be like, I would just be Zoe Dane. I don't think I'd ever be Zoe. Like, I'm just known as.
It's funny because like growing up, everyone would say like my name Zoe Dane. It was like I heard it so often, and then recently because I have this song launching, I was like, "What's my artist name?" And I was flirting with different names, and it was just like, "Nope, it's all just gonna be my name." So thank you.
There's no work to be done there, sister. You just go with what you got going on. So I'm going to refer to you as Zoe Dane every time I speak to you. Okay. So this topic of working like a woman is so beautiful because I'm going to give a very high level journey of women that brings us to this juicy moment in time and why this topic is so pertinent. And really, women have been on this journey from being so repressed and fully second-class citizens and slowly waking up through the feminist movement and needing to prove themselves and prove that they are worthy and they are to be taken seriously and they have a place in this world to do that. They had to emulate men. They had to play the man's game. They had to get on the court with men and say, look, I can do exactly what you do, and I can even do it better to be taken seriously. And in that, we emulated the way of the masculine, the way of executing and structured and grinding and consistency and all the beautiful things that are the masculine. We love the masculine, but we are feminine. And through that, we did gain credibility and are taken more seriously and have really made our way in the world, in the professional world and all the levels. And now, as the feminine is awakening, which is like so beautiful to watch, women popping off and women really igniting into their power as a feminine, their potency as a feminine, as they're awakening, and as the conversation of polarity comes into our culture, into existence, which, like, when I first heard that word, it was like a lightning bolt hit me. I'm like, I need to know everything about this. Like, this feels really important. So as polarity comes in, polarity being the beautiful dynamics between two different energies, and the more of masculine and feminine, and it's a law of nature. And the more fully masculine and fully feminine the different poles are, the greater the attraction and the dynamic between the two are to make life, for the creation of life. So in that, women are understanding more now, and more curious, and more embodying the beauty, and the power of the feminine. And it's different than the power of a masculine, the potency, the efficacy, whatever we want to say. And so this conversation really could be brought to existing as a woman in the world. But we're really going to talk about working like a woman. So, bringing those into productivity. A lot of women are running their own businesses, have their own brands, and making moves in the world, and bringing, potent material and service to the world through business, and bringing these principles of being powerful like a woman to our work. That's really what the conversation's centered around today. And the work you do with women is so beautiful, and it's through many different avenues, but it's essentially this, like, how do you help a woman understand their innate power, in relationship, in their dharma, in their purpose in the world, and how they shine their light. So, let's open this up. Why is this dear to your heart? And what would you say on the opening of this?
Let's see. Okay. So, I mean, you just covered so much around how we as women, there, as you were sharing that, like, what just came through is like the brilliance and the adaptability of the feminine. There was this repression, and what happens when something's repressed for a long time. This even happens in our own psyches, right? Like shadow integration 101. When something's repressed, it pops off. And so that's what we've seen, is that pop off. And then that radical feminism, which actually, I think that there was like a current of energy that was needed to like usher through, where women were like, fuck men.
Yeah.
For a little bit,
Yeah.
and now we're seeing its opposite, the opposite flux, where it's like, wait, no, actually, there's so much power and potency in the reverence and harmonization with and with the masculine.
Harmonization. There it is. I love that.
Yeah, and that's the polarity too. Like, that's a macro of the micro of what we're talking about interrelationally, is like the polarities that are happening in the external and how that's directing us. And as women, we have such an ability to tune into these micro nuances and into the frequency of what's happening in the collective. And those of us who are devoted to this work, right, and to this path, and are feeling it before it's even happening, and then we're anchoring it. And so
Yes.
that's really the power.
Yes.
Is like that time that women are devoting themselves to their altar, right? Like, for me, this entire wall right here is my altar.
Yeah.
And so having, the space to drop in with the divine. This is the name of my song coming out tomorrow, Dripping in Divinity. And what I love to
So
work with
excited for you.
women through. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Beautiful. And, in that, let's talk about the detriments of trying to take a feminine wiring structure. We are wired for a certain unique form of expression and power, and we have gifts. And when you take a feminine makeup and you try and conduct it like the masculine, this is where burnout happens. And we know this is huge burnout culture, hyper productivity culture, more. more efficiency, you know, and I'm speaking, this is near and dear to my heart because I lived that to its death. I lived the man's world. I ran a busy practice. I was CEO of my practice. I had my own patients. I had employees, and it was a man's world, and the blazers and the whole thing.
So
You listen to
manicured.
my first podcast, I really laid this all down, like the story of this. But, and man, did I work it. You know, I really did. And it didn't work. Like it worked. I was productive. I made money. I got people better, but I was so not okay. And that wasn't even on my radar. And what I'm now realizing is it's like, you can't play a violin like a drum. Okay? You can't play a drum like a violin. They both make music, but you have to know how to work the beauty of each instrument. And the feminine how we're wired is an instrument of the feminine. So this conversation is really how to play that instrument to make the most beautiful music. How do you like that analogy? That one kind of
I
landed.
love it. I was actually thinking before you said that analogy of like an electrical cord and trying to put it into the wrong socket, and there's like not enough juice and like life force electricity coming through. And that's actually what happens when we try to run our energy like men, because we are cyclical beings. We don't run energy like men. We've got the 4 seasons of our cycle, right?
Yes.
And most women are so adverse to their cycle. And you know, we have been in through the media, we've been shown that our period is gross and wrong, and to
Yes.
shove toxic products in our yonis, and to not actually even have a relationship with our yonis. So learning
Yes.
the instrument is really learning what makes you like learning. It's just like with learning guitar. You got to learn how to tune it. You got to learn what strings to pluck to make what sound. So it's like so much of the time women are waiting for a man to pluck their strings so that they know what notes they can hit, so that they know
Oh,
what
yeah.
pleasure tones they have, so that they know what their femininity is in relationships with the
Yes.
masculine. It's like, no, can you be in devotion to learning your own strings and pleasure tones and all of these pieces, your woes, your flaws, your pain body, your pleasure body? Can you know it so intimately? I'm getting chills that like
Same.
you're embodied in that wholeness in your work in the world from those spaces, and you are prioritizing intimacy with your body, with your instrument before doing your work.
Can you play your own music? Can you
Yeah.
develop your own music? How do you know? How do you know, what you like and what the chords are if you don't know? And you're right, so many women learn their bodies through usually boys, not even men,
Mhm.
touching them. And this is a time of self-knowing, self-understanding, self-realization. And now we're talking about that through the feminine. So that's that a good analogy. Like nothing's like a good analogy. Like because it's so important to start with, well, why not? Why can't we just work like men? Because we can do a lot of things, but should we? And
Sure,
what's the
if you want
long
to
game?
burn out and like it's like a circuitry malfunction
It is.
because
And there's disease. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, but there's just not like I always say, prioritize your purr. You know,
Tell me
prioritize
about
that
that.
which makes you purr,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like
It's a great
that
purr.
which
You have a
feels.
great purr.
Thank you. I purr in my new song.
You
I, I
better,
do it.
Zoe Dane.
I do it throughout the day to like soothe my nervous system. But like even your butter, your tallow butter,
Oh.
this shit makes me purr, you know. And it's like I think so many women we've also through religion, but we've been programmed to feel so much shame around our enjoyment of our
Yeah.
senses and of life itself and the things that make us feel feminine, right?
That's it. We have been taught to feel shameful about the things that make us feminine, our feelings, our intuition, the fact that we're not linear and we are cyclical, and this is what we're really bringing back today, and we're really sharing the power and the potency of owning the instrument that you are and playing it to make the most beautiful music that actually here's like a spoiler alert. That was the best fucking news ever when I figured this out. It's less. It's pleasure. It's actually ease and flow that makes me more productive. I'm like, wait, what?
Mhm.
What have I been doing? Wait, the more I soften, the more I move in my pleasure, the more I slow down, the more money I make, the more of my gifts shine through, the more easily I solve problems. Like it was a tough pill to swallow. It was the best news ever, but that's spoiler alert, what it's really about.
Yeah, and the more polarized you are with the masculine, the more at home you feel within yourself, the more you're actually descended and rooted down in your feminine anatomy, and you're literally just this beaming magnet. And there was something else that just came through, the tuning your instrument. So as you were saying that and like finding your song, find like letting your song be beautiful, I just want to use the reference to the fact that it's been like almost a decade of tuning my instrument
Yeah.
to then go, oh, I've been singing light language to the trees for like 6 years
Yeah.
in my pleasure practice, getting the sun on my naked body and being elementally so plugged in, so charged. That's another piece, is like really plugging into Gaia and the elements and coming back to the natural rhythm. But I felt moved to actually sing and create a song, which is a huge edge. But it got to that point where I know my instrument so well. I trust my prayer so deeply that
Okay,
I'm
there's so
like,
many codes. There's so many codes, so many codes.
go get
Okay,
it.
the code, because this is how it goes. Like two goddesses come together, we open the portal, and codes come through. We're here in pleasure, we're here in just love of the game. So the first code that came through is nature. The feminine is deeply, deeply connected to nature. We are that. We are of Mother Earth. So let's use this beautiful example, Zoe Dane. You intuitively were called to be out in nature, be naked in the sun. Voices are coming out of you. You're just allowing the natural inclinations and being able to hold what's coming through you. Like, can we meet ourselves? Like,
Hmm.
like it's like, can you handle me? Well, can I handle me? Can I handle my own voice, my own tears, right? So you allowed it to come through, and you just didn't judge it. You didn't try and make it anything. You just trusted it, and you gave it space, and you met yourself in the language coming out of you, in desiring to be naked, in communing with the plants, and not letting the judgments come in about that. And through that came this beautiful gift of what you're doing now, where you're launching a song and a music video. The masculine would have started with, I have a goal of launching a song and a music video, and I'm going to go do that. The feminine, we allow, that's the second code. It's allowing the gifts to come, allowing it to unfold through listening and responding to the urges and the nudges and the desires. To listen and respond, we have to be what? Connected to our bodies. We have to be embodied. Like
Open.
that was codes.
Yeah. Open. No, I love how we're riffing off of each other because that's exactly it. It's the openness and the receptivity. And the more we can soften and prioritize relaxation, not some pseudo relaxation or just
Tell
checking
me.
your self care things off the to do list. It's like, no, really prioritize. Like, it's the most important thing, your relaxation. Hypnosis has been life changing for me, which is why I'm a
Yeah.
certified hypnotherapist at this
Yes.
point, because of the way it gently goes in and massages the subconscious mind and starts to reprogram and resuggest.
Yes.
That going into nature, I say, if you forget who you are, just plant your feet on the earth and get your yoni in the sun. Like,
Yes.
go be with the elements, maybe drink some cacao and like listen to music and allow
Yes.
yourself to activate. Because, like you said, it's about not it's about suspending judgment and suspending your perception of other people's judgments, because oftentimes we don't allow ourselves to get naked and intimate with our own soul because the perception of what would my partner think of this, what would this person think, and they just start to infiltrate. So part of the practice is clearing and emptying yourself
Beautiful.
of everything and
Yes.
allowing spirit, source, divinity to move through you, and as it moves through you and you clear the space, it starts to unlock new tonalities of your instrument, and then you move to
Mm.
different creational processes, which requires, again, that rest, that spaciousness. I always say feminine brilliance comes from spaciousness.
So I really want to highlight it because I felt the urgency and the intensity of that request that you're making, or that invitation. Prioritize relaxation. It is still, as women and people, relaxation and self-care feels luxurious. Luxurious means extra. It's a bonus. It's when I'm all done. And what
Mhm.
we're saying is no. Actually, no. For potency and for productivity, actually, prioritizing relaxation through whatever way opens the system. When the system is open, life force energy can flow, creativity can flow, solutions to problems drop in a system that's available to receive. A system that's contracted and grinding, we're blocking source. And then we're doing it all alone. And when we're disconnected from source and we're grinding, there's burnout.
You're also going like this from the head, right? And then that's what happens is when we're operating from there, we're operating from the neck up versus the neck down. And
This is the biggest code right here. Write
where
it
we
down.
find that nectar point is
Yes.
in the body, it's in
Yes.
embodiment, it's in descending into these deeper pockets where you're not actually thinking your way through the thing. You're feeling your way moment to moment, and then you're creating space for divine inspiration and guidance to come in, right? So I want to offer some like practical things. If a woman's listening to this and she's like, well, how do I
Please.
do that? It's like, roll out your mat in the morning, and before you get started on your day, just do maybe like 10 minutes of a yoga flow
Yeah.
on YouTube. You know,
Yeah.
there's like sensual yoga flows if you're someone who's wanting to tap more into that. Dancing and really practicing getting comfortable in your dance, because the way you dance, I always say, I can tell everything about a
Yes.
woman's embodiment by the way she
A
dances.
hundred
And this
percent.
is why in my circles I hold like embodiment ceremonies to help women drop in more and more. But the practice is meeting yourself exactly where you are. And of course, it's the metaphor for life. Exactly where you are. This is the tantric approach, and accepting it, loving it, and getting curious about how much deeper you can go and how much more is available to you.
So as that practice, roll out your mat, do an embodiment practice, and it doesn't have to be long. Like the dancing was my literal lifeline to bring me back home after the burnout, which was intense. And the burnout took me into a state of nothingness. And the thing that was starting my revival, and the only thing that felt like was something I could do, was dancing. And it was being danced. It wasn't like I was making a dance. I was surrendering into a dance that made me feel a little bit of the divine, which I hadn't felt. And through the dance of letting go into the dance and being danced, I met more of myself. The rebirthing was coming through the dance, and I could meet her. And I would feel this goddess energy that would dance me. It's being danced. And again, could it be that beautiful and that easy? I also want to say this is where the butter comes in twice here, because first of all, what you're saying, roll out your mat, have those embodiment practices, just butter something. You know, this, like, that's how I use the butter. Like, I just butter something slowly, whether it's my body, whether it's a self-pleasure practice, or it's just my arm, but buttering it in a receptive way where I'm not focusing on putting it on. Like I'm not focusing on my hand, putting on the butter. I'm focusing on my skin, receiving the touch. And my hand is actually the masculine energy in me, and my arm is the feminine. And my feminine can receive, and I can feel it right now in my soul. And I can move my hand wherever I want, not like hoping a man touches me, right? It's like I can do it. And it shifts the nervous system into receptivity automatically. And that's easy and something I do in between meetings. It's something I do if I had a rough interaction with somebody and I need to soothe my system. It's not up here, it's getting in the body.
Yeah, I love that. And your butter, I mean, I massage my breasts with it like
Yeah.
every day, you know, and
Yes,
that's
same.
another thing, breast massage, taking a couple moments out of the shower, just like what you were sharing, feeling your breasts, receiving the love and the tenderness, because breasts are so hypersexualized, but they're actually the extensions of our heart. And
They
there's so much
are.
love that lives here in beauty. So
Yes.
to be able to like massage them, and also, you know, I work with the frequency of the rose is my biggest teacher and
Okay.
biggest thing I work with women. So buying yourself roses, having them at your desk while you're working so that you're beautifying. How can you beautify your workspace? How can you beautify your process of work? Maybe lighting a candle, making it feel more sacred,
Can I
having
just say
rose
how much that
oil.
actually matters? Like I had roses on
Yeah.
my desk. When I have roses on my desk, it always moves me how much it affects me. Like I know I'll like it, but I'm always like, this is actually having an impact on me. It's making me feel, it is, the rose is the highest frequency. Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
Lighting the
just
candle, creating the space, bringing the yum yums, bringing the
yeah.
softness.
Yeah, I love to say follow your yum, but also take the time to explore what that is, what those things are that make you truly purr, right? Like what makes you purr, and
Yeah.
can you prioritize being in lovership with yourself and creating that atmospherically and prioritizing those things that get you in your body, self-pleasure. That will all people, a lot of women are also like, that feels like a luxury. It's like, okay, go do it and actually like descend into it and
Yeah.
suspend the matrix and
Yeah.
go and breathe with your pleasure and become one with it and let it revivify you. My membership for women is called the vessel membership because it's all about being in devotion to your vessel. But how do we be
Yeah.
in devotion to our vessel as women? We empty ourselves of
Yes.
ourselves so that we can
Yes.
be filled by something bigger.
And I want to speak to the self pleasure piece, especially for women who are burnt out. They might be like, oh, I mean, whatever. It's like rubbing my elbow. I don't have any arousal. And I just want to speak into that because it's really discouraging when we've burnt out to the point that we don't have that lusciousness in our body anymore. And it's very real. And I just want to speak to those women and say it is 100% revivable, but it is not through demanding pleasure from your body. It is through meeting you where you're at and touching yourself like I did my arm, like in and being aware of the receptivity of the touch and not demanding high states of pleasure if they're not available. I say butter your yoni. Of course, you butter your yoni. And if it's a 1 or a 2 on the pleasure scale and 10 is like through the roof, if it's a 1 or 2 on the pleasure scale, let's say it's a 2, enjoy the 2. The 2 is
Mhm.
everything. Breathe into the 2, and it might just be a 2. So it's self pleasure isn't about, doesn't have to be about, I'm sitting down and, or I'm taking time to bring myself to orgasm. It can be that, and it can build to that, but it's okay if it's just what it is, because we say self pleasure, meaning there must be pleasure, and there might not be. It's self connection through the center of your feminine, vulnerable places.
Yeah, and just to go with this current of self-pleasure, so beautiful because it actually is such a deeply feminine practice to be able to suspend having a goal or a desire to
Yeah,
climax even because
right.
we've been so programmed to believe that that is what pleasure is. And
Mm,
it's a metaphor and a microcosm to the macrocosm of your day-to-day life. How deeply are you breathing? When you're in self pleasure, you can really connect with your breath as your lifeline and how deep is it going or how shallow? How much are you thinking? Because part of what I teach women is it's about suspending all thoughts that trigger arousal in you and starting to work instead with light, the colors of light. I usually work with
beautiful.
gold and pink sparkly energy, or maybe magenta will come in, or emerald green, and it's working with different light frequencies
Yes.
and resensitizing your somatics. So, really feeling every little, like you said, if it's a 2, every micro
Yes.
sensation
There it
of
is.
pleasure as its own orgasm, so that when it compounds, eventually, right, as you start to meet yourself, there is no time frame. So, the more you can rest into spaciousness and explore your inner landscape and go into your yoni and start to re-template your relationship with her, use the vanilla butter. Oh my God, it's amazing. I also, of your own research, but like yoni eggs allow you to actually connect more with your cervix and have a more
Mm,
internal experience as well. Using your hand versus using a vibrator, right? A vibrator is, I still love I have a rose vibrator and I love her and she has a time and a place. And then
yeah.
I love using my hands because
Yes.
the climactic peak is longer. I
Yes.
can play my instrument better. It's like
Yes.
playing with your fingers versus playing with a guitar puck or something,
Yes.
to use the
Yes. I
instrument
love our
metaphor.
analogy. This is such a
Yeah.
beautiful opening for women to hear, and all these different pathways to self connection, pleasure, opening, making space in the vessel to allow life force Shakti energy to flow, the life force energy, because our sexual energy is creation. Sexual energy is life force energy. It's how we create life, not just babies. And
Mm.
so maybe this is another code of working like a woman, our arousal, like bringing, for me, the days I do my books, like my bookkeeping, like dry pussy, like not a very exciting day.
Mm.
And on that day, how do I bring some sensuality to this? So I might just be naked and wearing a kimono and having some, candles lit. And then I do my bookkeeping and it's a really different experience. Like the arousal, the turn on isn't just for sex. It's actually an activation of the woman.
For how you engage with everything. I love that. I mean, adornment is a spiritual practice, so you're evoking frequency through the sentience of your clothing. I like to tell or share, guide women like, don't think about what you're going to wear for the day. Feel into what wants to be worn by you and just feel into the frequency tone of the day. And
Yeah.
then exactly if you do something that gives you dry pussy, which is maybe more of these masculine oriented things, how can you bring some yumminess into it? Can you dance before you send that email or record that thing on Instagram or, like have that conversation? Can you like take your time with yourself in your shower? Can you brush your teeth and tell every tooth you love it? Can you brush your hair like it's the finest silk in the world? Can you pray over your food and commune before you consume, right? It's like the day-to-day, moment-to-moment tantra of how you're in lovership with life. And yeah, like, maybe bookkeeping, you're dripping in fur, or like you've just done a pleasure practice. So you feel so much more connected to the mystical as you're in the mundane. And then you're anchoring that. So when people meet you out in the world or at the grocery store, they're like, whoa, whoa.
Okay, so I originally formulated Bliss and Tallow as a clean, deeply nourishing body butter, using tallow as the main ingredient because honestly, the moisture is unreal. It's rich and not greasy, and it just lasts like 24 hours lasts. It hydrates deeper into the skin instead of just sitting on top of the skin. Okay, but here's the thing. I didn't just make this for your skin. I also formulated this for your pleasure. So yes, your skin will feel soft and hydrated for hours, but what I really love is hearing all the stories from women who are slowing down and taking their time and actually enjoying the experience of putting it on. From the smell to the texture, the ritual of rubbing it in, it's like your body starts to remember, oh, I get to receive. I get to feel good. Bliss isn't just a feeling, it's a frequency. And this body butter, it helps you tune right into that frequency. So if you're ready to create more moments of softness, sensuality, and self-connection, Bliss and Tallow is your jam. I'm offering you 10% off with code BLISS10 plus 100% satisfaction guarantee because I want nothing to get in the way of you finding your bliss. Radiance attracts. And the feminine doesn't reach, the feminine doesn't grind and run towards something and make it happen. The feminine elevates, empties their vessel, elevates their vibration, opens in pleasure, and that radiance, like there's like beauty, then there's beauty. The radiance attracts whatever wants you. And can we be open enough to receive it for you? You didn't set out to say, I'm going to make a music video and a song. You attracted that through your journey. For me, I first made the butter in my breakdown because I couldn't do anything and I wanted to just do something with my hands. I had no plan. It was just for me and my family. And it took on a life of its own and it became this really beautiful business in high demand. Like I didn't set out and say, I'm going to make a product business. I listened to the urge. I listened to that little, and it's not loud, y'all. These desires, they're not loud. They're always talking to you, but we've for sure blocked them off. Like, yeah, right. I don't have time for that. Or like, in what world can I do that? Or whatever. What will people think? Whatever we do, and by you said lifting that judgmental layer and just recommuning, even if you don't respond to it right away. What if you just create a practice of I'm just going to acknowledge this little desire, even if you're not ready to respond. But what we're saying, in the response to those desires, you're responding to your true unique essence and your true desires. I don't believe we get to pick our desires. I believe we unlock them. And when we can own our desires, we own who we really are. Do I have the ability to really listen to my desires? And then do I have the courage to be that woman? It takes courage because It's some of it's edgy, but if I'm really honest, I have these desires. I have this pull and this urge, or I'm like, God, that's putting myself out there. Or what are people, is society going to accept that? Can we have the courage? And what is life like when we step in to that and own who we really are and be Danite and Zoe Dane? Like we're different signatures of the feminine, each in our own beauty, but it's not trying to be, it's unveiling who we are.
Yes, yes, yes. There's so much to speak into here. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Radiance, something that came through recently is like radiance is not how you look. We know this. It's how people feel in your presence.
Preach it. Talk to me. Tell me
It's
everything.
about how people
Yes.
feel in your presence. So when you do this work of excavation, of like finding your gold and operating from there in the world, no matter what judgments come your way, knowing that when you're operating from truth in your vessel, your connection to divinity, whatever happens for anyone else is literally their medicine, right? And it activates, it ignites that in other people. When people see you really living your truth, people are then aware of what's a possible for them to be living too. And I always say, like, when you're in true creational process and you're bringing something really true through, it's your conversation and your love affair with divinity that other people are being exposed to, that's then inviting them into their unique, authentic lovership with divinity, because it's all about coming into connection with
Okay,
God.
audience. Okay, I'm going to pause you. Don't forget the rest of what you're going to say, but this is so important. You're saying, I'm going to really boil that down. Being who you really are may trigger people. And because it might trigger someone, that is not a reason not to do it. You are withholding them from their activation. That trigger in them is an opportunity. In them, it is none of your business.
Yep. And however you receive that and process that, that's part of your alchemy and your curriculum. I mean, I'll just speak into the fact that, I've got a song coming out and I'm moaning in it. It
Okay.
is
Edgy,
like
yeah?
really very provocative. And I have had to sit with, I'm
Tell me.
purring, I'm moaning. I use the word clit in it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
at that part, everyone's just like, whoa.
Yep.
And I have always been fucking provocative.
Yes.
I've always been provocative. And I had
Yes.
to, like, the other day, I'm sitting with it and I'm like, is this okay? Can I really do this? And like one of our dear brothers who has a big record label in the conscious realm, in the conscious community, he's like on the phone with him the other day. He's like, send me the song. And we do. And I'm like, oh God, it's like, I don't know how he's going to receive this. It's probably too sexy. And he calls back and he's like, this is a really sexy song. He's like, I feel like I need consent to play it. And he goes, but it's dope. And there's a genre for it. He's like, but there's an energy to it. And that's the thing. There is an energy to it. I put so much transmission and prayer. I've been praying with this piece for a year and a half, that I have been actually for the past few days in a very vulnerable, kind of emotional, like
Yeah.
identity shedding, and
Yes.
also having to really own the part of me that is provocative, that pushes edges, that's always been this way.
Yes.
And recently, I've been sharing this, but a sister, previous mentee, was like, Zoe, thank you so much for being so devoted to making the world a sexier place. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here to do. And it's going to trigger people. It's going to trigger women. It's going to trigger men. It's going to trigger people. I've had women come to me and they're like, Zoe, I had to unfollow you because of your dancing videos and like your femininity used to trigger me. And now I'm really coming into it and you're coaching me online from afar. And you have no
Yes.
idea the magnetism in my life and the things and people like being drawn to me. And I'm like, yes, like sometimes that part of you that's being triggered by what you're seeing is actually desiring it so deeply, but it's such an edge and it's going to require so many parts of you to dissolve. But it's like my art, my music, the offerings, my expression, but the thing is I just shared about this on another podcast, is I had to go through a complete dismantling and dissolution of what I thought femininity was, because
Mm.
I used to run it in a way that was very distorted and from deep wounding. And
Yeah.
so I went through a massive clearing, quote unquote, spiritual awakening, right? Where I
Yeah.
had no connection to my femininity because I had
Interesting.
to root into my wholeness and who I truly was before I brought it through in a genuine way.
Wow. And what an important moment that was. That's the dark before the light. That's the excavation for the new. And I want to acknowledge you, Zoe Dane. Can't do it separate. Zoe Dane. I want to acknowledge you and I want to really highlight that no matter even however long we've been doing this work, there's edges and you hit another one. And as much as this is what you coach women on, it's so beautiful to see your journey in that next layer of claiming who you really are. And that's what I really heard in that story is if you're when you're honest with yourself, you've always been provocative. You've always been sexual, but we do it in this corner, like no one really knows this part. And do we have the courage to be who we really are? And the turn of events is people come to you and say, "Thank you." Like it is a disservice, y'all. It is a disservice to not shine your unique light and to cultivate the self relationship and the courage to be your signature, which is exactly whatever the world needs right now, or you wouldn't be here in that signature. There's no mistake that it is depriving the world of some medicine that is needed right now. Like I really feel that in you, and I want to acknowledge you holding that edge. And it's like the spiral, like we work on it and then we're back, but we're back from a higher perspective of like, oh, it's this again. Oh, I'm feeling a little ashamed. Is this really okay? And then we, every time around. So nice work, my love.
Thank you. I always say your next edge is the key to your next expansion. And yeah, it's not supposed to feel comfortable. And the journey is literally continually pressing these edges, but then also kind of like finding a turn on in it. Cause like there's the part of you that might be terrified, right? And the part of you that's terrified of judgment in the projection field that comes from fully like going all out. But then there's the part of you that's like, wait, no, but even actually like really owning that recently, I've always been provocative
Yeah.
and like people have always had something to say about it. And I know my fucking heart.
Yes.
So it's like, but yeah, that disservice piece, I like to say your radiance is the spark of light that God imbued you with, like endowed you with. It is you have been ordained to shine that light in the world. And so it's your responsibility to excavate what that true light is, knowing that the brighter you shine it, my podcast is called The Better It Gets, right?
Yes.
It gets to keep getting better and better because you keep getting better and better and you keep getting truer and truer. And your devotion is shining brighter than any of the stories and limitations.
It's so important and it's so human. And it's when we shy away, we really block the evolution of self and the world. That's the thing. Like we're all tied together. So I just really bow to all the women having courage right now to go in and be curious about who they really are, and then have the courage to be that and face the deaths within us that have to happen to be the women we really are. And it's not a one-time cycle. It's do you get better at it? I think it gets shorter. It gets shorter because I'm like, oh, okay, I see where I am right now. And what I've learned in that, Zoe Dane, is that when I'm up against a new edge, I can feel, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay with all these outcomes, but this is the one I'm not okay with. I'm like, oh, okay, well then this one is the one I need to make love to. Can I make love with the worst case scenario? And to me, that's my freedom. That's what sets me free. Can I not just not die if it happens, but can I make love to it? Can I see it? Because then all the doors are open and life can flow. And I'm speaking this like it's so breezy. It's fucking edgy, okay? There's deaths that have to happen. You will find what you are clinging to. You will find what you are attached to. You will find what is blocking you and where you're giving your power. And that's how I can speak into that is, can I make love? Not like love with the worst case scenario.
Can I fucking love that? Can I make love with the worst case scenario? Because that's another piece is, and coming into bringing the feminine into all areas of life, including work. It's like, can you feel the depths, right? And I say the feminine feels the fuck out of life and then creates art about it, right? Because the potency of what you're bringing through, the prayer of what you're bringing through, really comes through your ability to feel your depths and to feel everything that happens between you and your next level. So, like for me, I've been crying so much this week because it's not just the song and the music video. We are in the process of two massive initiations as a union. We're getting married, so we're like locking all of that in. We're locking in. We're looking for something else really, really big and massive that I don't want to speak into yet. So it's been
Girl,
all of it at
girl.
once. And it's like when we can feel all the feelings that come up as we're being prepared and primed for the next level, we're clearing space and capacity in our physical vessel to hold the next level, to meet it, to clear all of these patterns and these limitations that are holding you in whatever has actually held you back from those next levels.
Zoe Dane, we're dropping in on this. This is massive for women who are embodying the feminine. We have to learn how to ride these waves. Emotions, let's go here, my love. We have been trained to shut them the fuck down. They are weak, they are inconvenient, they are too big, and they are a mess. Okay, to embody the feminine, you said we feel the fuck out of life. First of all, can we own that? As a woman, as a violin, whatever the fuck instrument we are, it is part of the signature and the divine order that we feel the fuck out of life. What do we do with all of these emotions, especially as we up level and take on your story perfect, the thing, you're calling in bigger things, you're getting married, you're launching, there's going to be a whole plethora of emotions. And the only way is to understand that emotions exist for one reason: to be felt. And do we even know how to feel them in a healthy way? This is where Tantra has changed my life. It has in many ways. The catharsis practices, they are literally daily, that I have a practice where I go in and just tap in and allow space to scream, to cry like a little baby whimpering in fetal position,
Temper tantrum.
or to cry arms back, head back, up to the sky wailing. There's flavors of cries, turns out. Like and they're all delicious, and in different times I need different cries. I have a particular stick that I use to beat this poof pillow that has a good hit on it if I need to move some anger. And it's touching into these emotions and in a healthy, channeled way, giving them space, saying, you are wisdom, and just feeling you is moving the needle of my life and creating space. It is energy in motion. This is not something that's comfortable for a lot of people.
Well, no, because it literally signals to the body that everything is wrong. It's telling the nervous system that everything isn't all happy
Right?
and glory,
Right.
but it's also dancing with the raw emotion of whatever is coming through and
Yes.
allowing it to be this prayer piece, right? Watching yourself in the mirror. Yesterday, I got butt naked in my fur in front of the mirror and I was like, oh, I have not been intimate with my nudity and myself in my yoni. And that's where I come home. I lock eyes with myself and
Yes.
I get naked and I look at my reflection and I move energy. And no matter what has happened in the outside world, I remember who the fuck I am. I see myself and I go, there you are. And I lock in. And from that space, anything feels possible. And that's the thing, is the prioritization of intimacy with self and also with our hearts. That's the main piece. It is about coming
It's a
into
positive
our
feminine pole.
heart.
The heart chakra is very
Yeah,
feminine.
our heart and our womb. And we can only do that if we prioritize it. And it's not always a comfortable process. I say oftentimes there are going to be many iterations of your push, your being coerced almost by the divine to surrender to your next level of surrender. And the thing is, you might think that you're good at surrendering, but it's not about thinking. You can't think your way through a surrender process. And the only way to come and descend really deep into the heart again is to surrender. And sometimes you go through a gnarly initiation for that. Recently, I had food poisoning around Valentine's Day, and that was the only way that I could have descended that deeply back into my heart and womb, where I'm crying and singing light language in the rain and I feel the depths of my love with my beloved. That is so mystical and metaphysical and not of this world. And that's the thing. We can't feel those tonalities of that which is not of this world and that which is so mystical in its nature if we are not feeling. Our feeling is exquisite aliveness, and that's what makes us radiant, is when we've actually descended
Yes.
into the pockets and we've
Yes.
had that cry,
Okay.
we've had that dance, we've had that scream, we felt it fully, and then we are actually being received fully in the world.
So the radiance is dulled by the toxic buildup of that person's phone call, my son upset me, I got disappointed in this way, this didn't go
Stories,
well. We hold.
stories and
What do I
calcification
look
of
like?
the
I'm
heart.
like this, and I'm toxic. The detox to meet it all and not run it through the cognitive,
Mhm.
run it through the animal body, beat the pillow, cry, and just trust the wisdom of that release. And I'm going to say it initially, it can feel intense and scary. Like, will this stop? Will I lose control? That's okay.
Mhm.
Trust it and breathe and keep going. Because what I will tell you, the literal bliss on the other side of emotional catharsis,
Mhm.
the mornings I have felt choked by things that are going on in my life, and I never want to go in and do this practice. It never is like, oh, I'm excited to do it,
No,
but
it's
I
like throwing
know
up. You
it's like
never want to
puking.
throw
It's
up. Yeah.
exactly like puking.
After
Don't
you're like,
equate
I'm a
it.
new woman.
And afterwards, it's like this euphoria, and you lay still almost as long as you have catharted, which I always feel like I'm saying catharted, but it's like catharted is what I'm using. And you lay still to integrate just on your back in Shavasana. Really, if you could do it double the time you released, it's great, but sometimes I just do it equal. That practice has kept me so aligned and so open to receive, to stay in this feminine energy of creation. I don't even know how I lived so long, without purging those emotions.
Well, I feel like on a fundamental, like deep level, we always have we know that there's something more that we're here to taste and touch and
Ooh.
experience, but it's not until we give ourselves full permission to explore what that is within the safety of our own intimacy with self. So that is the precursor to creating and cultivating safety with your intimacy with yourself and within the four corners of whatever space that you're in,
Mm.
allowing that to be the masculine container. I always say, like, you are safe to fall apart, but create the infrastructure internally and externally for you to fall apart. Set up the pillows, set
Yes.
up the nest. And
Yes.
similarly to your practice, after self-pleasure, I always lay in shavasana and have my clients lay in shavasana and fully receive waves of golden light, like Shakti's
Mm.
pouring into every
Mm.
pocket that is needed for you to feel whatever that inspiration is. And when you can lay there and receive your own pleasure, you can receive your own life force, because that's what Shakti
Mm.
is, then
Mm.
you will literally start to feel when you are being moved. And one quote I want to share on
Yes, love.
bringing frequency into form is writing it down. But
Hmm.
also, what I do with every project, like the vessel membership, I have it on my mirror in expo marker. So every day I'm facing off with it. I'm locking into it. I'm looking at it, and I don't erase it from my mirror until it's physicalized. So dripping in divinities on my mirror in the bathroom. Come Monday, I'm gonna have a ceremony where I erase that, and it's been there for over a year.
You're bringing it into physical form. You're relating. It's getting your attention. You're putting a
You
feel to
see
it.
it, yes,
You
and
see
you're
it, and
in
that's
intimacy
that's
with it.
putting it into reality. I love that.
You're
I
in
love that.
courtship with it. You're in literal union and connection with it.
Oh, it's so beautiful. So let's keep Zoe Dane deliciousness. Let's get a little more. I don't know, more what, whatever. The cycles of working with our menstrual cycles. One of the biggest things of a woman, one of the things that makes a woman is we menstruate and we have cycles in a month. And there's different phases to that cycle, and there's different things available to us in the different phases of our cycle. Acknowledging that, honoring that, and scheduling ourselves accordingly. Will you speak into that for us?
Yes, it's been life changing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have not mastered this, and that's what I love. I love being in the curriculum where I'm devoted to the
We're in the Bliss Lab. It's all
exploration.
just curious.
Totally, the Bliss Lab.
Yeah,
I
we're
love
just
that.
Bliss Labbing it.
Because, for me, I have this interesting relationship with, so I always say your cycle, your blood has her own intelligence, right? So if she's late, what I've noticed is it's because there's something big I'm not releasing. There's something I'm holding on to in my soma. And so, like, even recently, my moon was 10 days late, quote unquote late, right? And my partner and I are so synced in with the magic of it. We're like, okay, what big magic needs to happen for her to come? The night I put my song into distribution, and I cried while doing it, listening to the song, going, oh my gosh, it's going out into the world, and feeling everything that it took for
Whew.
it to come into fruit. I literally just like crying the whole time. The next morning I wake up and my moon arrives, right?
Yes.
So it's like when we're not releasing, she's not releasing. We're synced with
Beautiful.
her. And when we work like a man, or we're pushing ourselves in this winter, right? We can look at our four seasons of the cycle, like the cycle seasons of the earth, because we're mirroring her. Menstruation is winter time, right? And if we're
Yes.
preparing for winter time in fall, which is PMS, which my favorite acronym for this is prioritizing myself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not prioritizing yourself in this time where you're a lot more sensitive, your uterine lining is beginning to shed, right? Your hormones are dropping, then you can start to lash out on people. You can
Mm-hmm.
start to feel really hypersensitive. For me, my fiance will chew next to me and I have to sit like 10 feet
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like honoring that that's a real thing, and thinking that with your partner, but also realizing, okay, in this time where my body is beginning to shed, not stacking a bunch of shit on your plate. This is
Yes.
actually the time to rest more, get massages,
Yes.
take care of yourself, prioritize yourself, take that bath,
You're talking
like
about the luteal. You're talking about the
luteal
time
phase,
after ovulation moving into bleed
moving into bleed.
is a
And I
time.
like to start here because
Yes.
this can be the crunchiest part for most women. For
Truth.
me, this is the
Most
crunchiest
most
part.
women.
Every other part's a breeze, right? And then you bleed and it's like, my release. And I like to advise women go into temple for at least a day, maybe two if you have that luxury, blacking out your space, creating like a very sensual environment, lighting your candles and reflecting on what did and didn't work in the month ahead. Releasing that which didn't work with your blood, bringing it out to the earth, watering the earth with your blood, offering
Yes.
a prayer,
Yes.
right? Your yard, wherever you live, the land around you or beneath you wants your offerings. It
Yes.
wants your blood. It wants, I say, if you can pee on the earth as much as you can,
Like a
and
wild
then,
animal, I pee in my backyard, my
oh my
poor
gosh,
children. And
right.
it
And
just
you,
feels so right to, well, this is a lot.
yeah,
It feels so right to watch my pee be absorbed into the earth
totally.
and
It
to
is, there is a
menstruate outside.
sensual,
I'm like primal as fuck. But it is
yeah.
an offering and it is a connection and it is the cycle. But I want to
Hmm.
highlight something. Women, on the day of your heaviest bleed, what if you could take the day? If you can't take the day, what if you gave 2 hours of something to honor that release and to see it as a beautiful death, a release, and attach a little bit of intention to it, but put putting some honoring time towards it. And if it can't be, maybe it's all your whole bleed you can take off and be in full recline of life, and maybe not, maybe it's a few hours, or an hour is honoring.
Right. And even if you can't, tune in with your womb, place your hand on her as much as you can throughout the day. Take moments where you can close your eyes, drop your consciousness, your awareness down into her and just commune with her. Just let her know you're with her. Place your hand on her, because sometimes, like, I've had bleeds where I don't have a
Yeah.
luxury to, but
Yeah.
I'm
So
continually
true.
communing and dropping in, right? And then after the bleed, our hormones start coming back online. You start to feel like a brand new woman. Your life force is coming back,
Hmm.
right? And this is the time to pick up on those projects, right? To
Hmm.
plan the projects and
Hmm.
the things that need more of your external energy. And then ovulation, that 2 to 3 day window is peak performance. Record your content, go
Yeah.
speak on the stages, do those
Yes.
things that require the most of you. And
And you're
also, like, go on
attractive
your
and you're the
date.
most,
Yeah.
yes.
Juice up in it.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, cycle
Beautiful.
syncing with your business, whether you have your own business or you work for someone else, if you can start to track these different seasons and cycles, if you want to take it one step further, you get the app on your phone, you start tracking where you are, you eat according to your cycles. So what would
Mhm.
you eat in wintertime? When you bleed, it's more
Yeah.
like soups and like heartier things that feel comforting. And in summer, it's more light, right? Like salads, and you work out. That's another thing. Scheduling your exercise and your workout and your embodiment with
This
your
is
cycles.
huge.
So,
This is
yes, it's
huge.
huge. So, when you're PMSing, don't push yourself really hard in the gym. When you're bleeding, like, give yourself that time to rest. Then, when you're in follicular, which is when you come out of menstruation, and you're in ovulation, go and get your workout on. Go and really get in there. And
This is where less
also,
is more. Yeah, go ahead.
one
Go ahead.
last piece is for biohacking women and women
Yeah.
who like to ice bath. It's ideal to do that when you're ovulating or when you're a little bit more into follicular. It is not ideal to get in an ice bath and freeze your womb when you're in luteal and you're PMSing, or when you're bleeding, obviously, because your womb ideally is meant to stay warm. Saunas are great for women.
I really love that you just brought that up. And it's less is more. Less isn't less. And to work as a woman, to understand, we think working out, 30 days a month, right, is better while I'm working out more, when actually, and this is where my physician side is going to come in, if the body doesn't have the buffer, and it's in already a stressed state hormonally, right? Because maybe you're in the luteal phase and your vibe has dropped a bit, and then you do something really hard like working out or an ice bath, it actually is perceived as a stress response to the body, not an adaptive response. So ice baths and exercise, they're hormetic therapies. They're the perfect amount. They're a type of stressor that we expose ourselves to, that the body adapts and gets stronger in the face of. But if you take a chronically stressed person or an acutely stressed person and expose them to those hormetic therapies, it's just perceived as stress. It's not adaptive, which means you're upping cortisol, adrenaline, inflammation. So this is where it's attunement, and more is not always better. This is the CrossFitting all month long. And like when you're PMSing, like there's no benefit. We go for the betterment of the exercise or the ice bath, but check in. Do you feel better that day? Do you have a big crash in energy after that big workout before your period? So love that that came up. I think that's really important.
Yeah, well, beautiful. We're not supposed, I love that you brought your physician, perspective into it, because, or like the facts of the matter, because we are not meant to work like men, and we are not meant to biohack like men, and my
It's a different
fiance is
bio.
very masculine and he's
Yeah.
a total biohacker. And it's so funny because he used to want me to be, he didn't realize he wanted me to be like a man. And Alison Armstrong talks about this, right? We think, we kind of project our idealized version of like a hairy woman onto our man, right? And we
Huh?
think he's supposed to be like our girlfriends and vice versa, versus
Totally.
really recognizing how they complement and how they harmonize. And that's also within ourselves. But, there was one piece coming through around menstruation, biohacking. It might come back.
Yeah.
It felt potent,
Less,
but
more is not always more. And this is about being
oh,
smart. Good. Yeah.
yes. Literally, some people are like, Zoe, like, how does your butt stay perky? And I'm like, I do 11 to 17 squats a day. And I do leg lifts when I'm brushing my teeth. I don't go, I'm gonna go super fucking hard in the gym
Yeah.
for 5 days straight. Less is more, but
Yes.
also like consistency compounds. So
Yes.
like in the morning, I do 10 to 20 minutes of yoga in my temple room, and then I can start to feel, oh, like, oh, wow, I'm so limber and lubricated, because I'm not pushing it off going, I need to do an hour flow or an hour and a half flow, and then it keeps pushing off. Or I'm going to go really hard for a short amount of time and then wait another week or two to go really hard again. And it's like,
Yes.
can you do a little bit every day and know that it compounds?
And this is the same thing we were talking, like it's literally less is more, and it's not, but it's tuning in and being able to notice those things, because you have it opposite of the desired effect if you just bulldoze a
Right.
situation with, well, it has to burn, doesn't matter if I'm tired, I want the outcome. Like I remember when I was in my practice and I was playing it right towards the end of before I ran away. I started working less and I made more money, and it made no fucking sense. Like universal math is not regular math. It's energy math. I was working less and it didn't make any sense, and I was making more money because the energy I am putting in is now more potent. There's a buffer. There's something I can give back that is in the cycle of life. And so I really hope this is landing for women, because it's a little counterintuitive, but this is wisdom, right? This is like, it's not black and white as we think.
Right. And it's also like with your butter, like you followed this thread of yes, you followed this thread of yum, and you get to use this product all the time. Like we were gifted this butter at Burning Man last year, and I smelled it and I put it on and I was like, oh my God, this is mine. She gave it to my fiance and I was like, no, this is mine. It became mine. And then I started buying it for my mom and friends. And now she gave us another one this year at Burning Man for his birthday. And I like savor it. I'm like, I don't want to use too much yet, until I order the next
I don't
round.
even know how this texture happened. Like this right here. Like what is that?
And the smell is just literal divinity. And that's the thing. You followed your yum and your bliss and you went into the bliss lab and now you're bringing this bliss to so many women. And that's the
No
thing.
goals. I had
No
no,
goals.
it was so internal. It was so just yummy.
Wow.
And then to watch the life it took on and to watch the excitement in people. It wasn't just like, oh, I really like it. It's like, I call them butter lovers. You're a butter lover. A butter lover is someone who this butter is a part of their life. It
Yes.
enhances their life and they have a literal activation from this butter being in their life. And
It
that,
brings you into a frequency
kidding
that
me? Like, there's nothing better than seeing a butter lover pop off. And it's a community. It's like when butter lovers get together, they like speak codes to each other about like how they use the butter. And
well, look,
like
we wouldn't even have this conversation right now if it weren't for your bliss butter.
the butter brought us together.
Yeah,
It brings
butter
all
baby.
kinds of magic. And it makes me so, so happy that you're using it in your pleasure practice with your lover for skincare. I mean, that's the beauty of it is that it's so incredible for your skin, but it became the sensual product. Again, not an intention, like just it was born. I allowed it to be, and I had to meet my own edge of, can I talk about it like this? You know, like Dr. Haller, that was my previous expression. Now I'm Dr. Danite. She's very different. Dr. Haller died. She was amazing.
Aw.
You know, but it's still meeting that edge of like really talking about, and there's a part of me that loves being provocative. There's a part of me that loves bringing sex into a conversation where no one's talking about it. And I know it makes people a little uncomfortable. I don't know. It's like, dude, I think it's a part of me that's a little annoyed. Like, come on, everyone eats, everyone sleeps, everyone has sex, but we can't talk about the sex part. Like most
Like the
people
most
masturbate.
pleasurable
Like,
part that
can
brought us all into creation that all of us like desire and think about often. You know, if
can
you're
we
not in
just
partnership,
talk
most
about it?
people are out looking for who they're going to like, you know,
I know,
be
like,
intimate with.
I just love telling people, hey, use it in your self pleasure practice and with your lover, like Mary Churchgoer. I'll just be like, because I know you have sex, but trust me. Okay.
Right.
So, yes. So, okay. Working with our cycles, less is less and intentional less is more.
Hmm. Hmm.
I want to talk about another code working like a woman that I discovered with being, you know, running my own brand and my own business now. And that some part of me has a desire to be really structured. I want to be like, Tuesdays I work on my podcast, and every Friday I work on my books, and Wednesday I create content. And I'm like, oh, there's a part of me that like gets off on that. And then I go to do it, and every part of me is like, what if I don't feel like fucking doing that on Wednesday? And like, I'm bleeding today. I don't care that it's supposed to be my books. I'm in the bed, you know? And so what I discovered in the Bliss Lab of Life, I have all these tasks and I have the way I organize my lists. And I literally step into the office after caring for myself and I'm like, what? And something always jumps out at me
Yeah.
that I want to do that day. Like, I'm going to make butter today. Oh, I'm going to figure out this thing on Shopify. It's alive in me to figure out this thing on Shopify. Whereas yesterday I would rather claw my eyeballs out than figure out this thing on Shopify.
Right.
And I'm like, let me study this. Let me just see if I keep going, does it all get done? If I allow that what wants me, and I can feel some things have some urgency. I'm like, okay, today I can meet you. I'll make that phone call that I've been avoiding, or I'll, you know, create a new one pager in Canva today, whatever it is. And I'm like, wait a sec, everything's totally getting done and I'm not structured. It feels like a lot of letting go. Have you noticed this?
Oh, absolutely. This is something I've been experiencing with my practice for over 6 years. And I love that you said what wants me. It's like the clothing practice. What wants to
Yeah.
be worn by me?
Yeah.
What wants me?
Yeah.
I'm not meant to go and penetrate the field. I'm meant to be invited, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or penetrated with the feeling of what's wanting me. And
Mm.
the other piece that you spoke into is the importance of having a devotional morning practice, a practice to get into your instrument, to tune your
Me
instrument so that
first.
you can feel
Mm.
and attune to
There it
what
is.
wants you. And it literally always gets done. And I'll like have these to-do lists, you know, and it does feel good to like check some of them off. But when you can breathe back and in and really tune into your authentic barometer and bandwidth, that's going to literally inform everything that you have the capacity for to do in a way that really feels fortifying for you that day. And that just keep moving day to day like that.
I mean, it's just proven at this point. You know, you and I are speaking into it, and I know many women can agree. And I'm going back to what you said with such conviction. You said prioritize your relaxation. The most effective, efficient thing you can do in life is fucking relax.
So
Through
funny.
that, you are connected to listen to how to engage with life in the most efficient, the least problems, inflow way. So if the first morning time is devoted to whatever moves you, what is that moving your body? Is that meditating? Is that pleasuring yourself? Is that sitting outside and drinking tea for 3 fucking hours? If you have, I know not everyone has that luxury, but bring this in to whatever degree you can. Then I'm tuned, I'm full, I'm fulfilled, I'm connected, I'm not empty, and then I can feel what wants me.
I love that so much. I can feel what wants me. A beautiful question to ask too is when you're engaging life and if Murphy's law seems to be like having its way or things aren't really smooth gelling, how am I engaging life right now?
This is
And where
big.
am I engaging life from?
You're saying if life is rippling and there's snags and catches, pause and ask,
Pause and
how is
breathe
this a
deep.
reflection of my internal state?
How am I engaging life right now? And am I in a lovership with the way I'm drinking my cacao and the way I'm brushing my teeth and the way I'm talking to myself in the mirror and the way I'm, calling on my benevolent guides to flirt with me through angel numbers and synchronicities and magic? Am I open to it, right?
Yeah.
Or am I just like white knuckling it, and going back to these survival patterns? And it's just a very simple redirection and question to be like, how am I engaging life right now? Because I'm not a victim of how life is going right
Girl,
now,
girl.
but how
It's
am I
like
engaging it?
the bumper sticker of my life. Like I'm not a victim of anything. I am the creator of my life, which is a lot more ownership. The pull to victimhood is the blame. I don't have to own anything. It's all happening to me.
Which can be very seductive.
I
And so I
know.
like to say, your victim also gets a seat at the table if she comes up, right?
Yeah.
Can you dialogue with her? Can you journal practice with her and
Yeah.
give her an outlet?
Yeah.
Because another part is like the to not suppress these different pieces that come up, but to get curious about them and to know that they're not the one running the show, but they do have a seat at the table, and your higher self, right? Whatever that like empress version of you gets to listen to them as part of the council, but that's not running the show. And I notice like when I give dialogue to that victim, because she'll still come up here and there.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, this is your concern and this is how you're trying to protect us. And okay, but like, I've got this now, you know?
And that's internal compassion. We never that it'll create more separation to be mad at that victim and shun her and suppress her. It's a part of you, and you get much further by hearing her voice and letting her know that you're in charge and she's safe here.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
same with jealousy, with envy, with self-disgust, with any of these things that come up. It's like the gradual process of coming into lovership and union with these parts so you can operate from wholeness and so that you can start to like metabolize and transfigure whatever those denser things are, you know?
So many beautiful things have come through. I'm moved to say that we've shared a lot today, and you and I are self employed. And I want to honor that a self employed person probably has more flexibility. You know, a partnered person may have more support. There are single mothers out there that are
Hmm.
doing it all on their own, and I believe they deserve their own holiday and monument and like so
Totally.
much love and power to the single parents, I'll say out there. And some women work for a corporate situation, right, where their time is a little bit more guided and structured from an external place. And what I want to say to all the women is take any nugget, any nuance, any piece that you can apply. This is potent, potent. These are potent, what might seem like tiny shifts that make a tsunami of change because the feminine is that powerful. And so apply what you can in the littlest ways or the bigger ways and just watch how it reflects back to you in life. Is there other burning? I've written a few things down, like working like a woman, my love. Do we feel we've done it a really beautiful service, or is there something else that feels missing?
Well, firstly, I got chills when you connected those dots and spoke to where women might not have this luxury yet. That small incremental building of faith and connection to that which lives beyond. I would say like the fiercest, most devotional cultivation to the divine and whatever higher power you feel connected to. Love, the benevolence of this universe, the adoption of pronoia, the belief that the entire universe is literally conspiring in your favor, and
Yeah.
that miracles are always just around the corner.
Mm.
If I can leave anything, it's just the devotion to tuning to the miracle frequency, no matter how fluffy that sounds. Like, can you start to track the miracles in your life and the beauty in your life and look for the beauty in your life? Because that is what is going to continue to amplify. And from that space, an entirely new reality and timeline might open up for you. Will most likely open up for you.
So beautiful and so powerful. And I want to just reflect some of that back to you in the audience, that if you are in hardship and if the situation feels like it's working against you, or you don't feel you have some of these luxuries of space, you always have that connection to the divine, the frequency of love, the frequency of miracles. And that's free and that's available to everybody. It's an internal game, and that is your gift, and actually are all of our responsibility. And it's actually probably the most potent energy we're talking about. And that can start to change the external, because wherever our attention goes, energy flows. So you're saying, even if you are in a moment of life where things are a little bit tougher, it feels stacked against you, focus on any micro beauty anywhere and just be grateful for that thing, that littlest thing, and it will build and grow. And I really love that that just came through.
Yeah, sip on the miracles that are in your reality. Prioritize your relationship with God, with the divine, whatever you want to call it. And one prayer I want to offer is, this is my favorite prayer, one of the top favorite prayers. God, thank you. Thank you. Really feel that. Thank you. Please show me how good and magical it gets. And then just offer it up.
Offer it up,
Offer it up. Offer it up.
because it's really in the asking and letting go.
Yeah. So
Asking,
letting go.
attuning our energy to what we desire, opening our vessel, and letting go. And I call that the process of allowing life to happen. And if I can feel my cognitive chewing on a problem and trying to grind out a solution, I catch it and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What is the feeling I desire on the other side of this? And I build that feeling, and I let go of how the fuck that's ever going to happen. But I really feel the feeling, and I get it off my nervous system. Like, you got it. I surrender, and then I stay in gratitude for it already being done. The shit that has worked out. I can figure out anything. Okay. I'm like quadruple Virgo
I
is
was gonna
really
say, I feel Virgo in you.
like there's more Virgo in my chart than I even knew. It's like my North Node, it's like my sun and my moon.
Virgos
It's
are
a
just, my fiance's Virgos are just good at everything. They
okay.
figure everything
It's a
out.
lot. So I'm that. And if I can't fucking figure it out, I'm like, God, I'm sorry. I know you're good, but there's no fucking way you can figure this out if I can't figure it
Oh
out,
my
because I run
God.
it through everything.
God is probably a Virgo, okay?
Right? And shit comes through, and I'm in awe every time. I'm like, I didn't see that one. And the divine is working beyond space and time and matter, right? I'm limited by the calendar and time. So I love that ending prayer, Zoe Dane. I am so thrilled and fulfilled and activated by spending this time with you. I feel such great alignment with your work and your words and your wisdom. And I'm so excited about the ways you're stepping in and meeting your edges and bringing your gifts and your such beautiful music to the world, in all forms of music, real and metaphorical. And thank you for bringing the magic into the Bliss Lab and getting curious with me, sweet love.
Thank you for having me on. So much sweet, yummy potency in here. And yeah, thank you for everything that you're doing and for following your yum and bringing it to the feminine.
It takes all of us, and for all the women to feel the connection we have with each other. We're all in this together, and your rise is my rise, and your light inspires me. So until next time, Zoe Dane, until we purr together again. I gotta work on mine. No, I gotta get it better. Okay, sweet love. Until next time.
Okay, thank you.
Mwah. Thank you for joining me here in the Bliss Lab. If you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe. It makes such a difference for me and my ability to continue making this content. And as a gift to you, if you take a screenshot while listening and post it to your Instagram and tag me, Dr. Danite, I will do a drawing every month and give away one free jar of Bliss and Tallow body butter. Until next time.